What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers and break down how the technicals are looking for now. Talk about some important things for next week and what could be developing on the charts so far. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. Now, this offer ends in just about 9 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market so far. So, we had a very crazy day today on SPY. If you were looking at like ES, futures, whatever you were looking at, very, very crazy day. Now, the market dropped in the morning as we had some very bearish looking numbers that came out from the jobs report. The jobs numbers were looking very strong as we started to see the non farm payrolls hotter than expected. We started to see a bunch of them, a big increase by about 336,000. And this was once again pretty insane. Now, with this insane amount of new payrolls, this led the market to slowing down because the Fed would be incentivized to essentially raise rates again. The market saw this drop in the morning. We saw SPY kind of like sink down. That's why we started off all the way down here. And we tested this channel right over here on the daily chart. Now, looking at it on the 5-minute time frame, you could see SPY came down pretty hard. And we stayed down here for the first few hours in this lower range. And then what happened is as time went on, a lot of people started shorting. We saw a lot of shorts loading the boat. They started to just jump in. They anticipated more and more downside. And the thing is, SPY managed to hold above 420 the entire time. So there was no confirmation of us breaking below that just yet. So with that happening, with the market holding above 420, that's when the bulls started to step in and they started pumping this thing. And this led to a massive short squeeze. The market makers also played a role in this because it benefited them to see SPY close at or above max pain at 425. So they did not want us to start sinking. They did not want us to lose 420. They came in, they stepped in, and they pushed the market up like crazy. So the market started pushing and pushing and pushing, and then we saw this squeeze, and SPY went all the way up to a high of 431 for today, closing at 429.5. Overall, this looks bullish on the 4-hour time frame. Very, very bullish day. And there's likely going to be another big test coming next week. On the daily, we're also looking more bullish. This thing is trying to break out. So, am I super bullish or do I think there's a possibility of more downside? The answer is I think there's a little bit more upside coming, but we're going to be watching some important tests. And there could be more downside coming later on during the month because we have some other things we have to factor in. So, let me try to make this as clear as possible. So, when it comes to SPY, we have this tight resistance range right here between 432 and 433. Now, if we do break out more, which could most definitely happen, there's a good chance we're going to test that range. And there's no guarantee we really like break above it immediately. It could take some time before we truly get that break. Now, the way the market moves could depend on different factors. You also have to remember that we have a lot of Fed speakers on Monday coming out. We have more data coming in that's going to be very important, like the PPI reports and things like that. All of this is going to be coming out very soon, not to mention CPI coming out very soon as well, going into the second week of October. So we have lots of big data coming out, and then on top of all of this data coming out, which could affect the markets, you have to remember that we have earnings season starting very soon. So for next week, okay, earnings are going to be very, very light for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But for Thursday, we have Delta, we have Domino's, and just a couple of others like 7-Eleven, I think that is. And then after all of that, all right, we also have on Friday, JP Morgan Chase, we have Citi, we have BlackRock, Wells Fargo, Progressive, PNC. Lots of big banks have their earnings for Friday. This could change how things move for the markets. And then to add on to all of this, I just wanted to mention this. On SPY, there's a good chance this thing is going to pump a little bit more, but there's no guarantee we're going to break 433 to 432 immediately. It could take a little bit longer. Now, when it comes to the way the market's moving, I do see one possibility, and that is we could be forming a giant inverse head and shoulders on SPY. There's a possibility that down here, SPY could be trying to form like a completely different trend from what a lot of people are expecting. We have a potential inverse head and shoulders like right here where we have like this left shoulder down here. And then we also have this right shoulder developing right next to it that could be developing after that. So this is like the left shoulder. We also have like the head down here. Now I'm wondering, could we be forming like a right shoulder very soon after this? Could there be one last drop coming for the next like week and a half before the market tries to turn finally? That's another possibility as well. So we're going to be watching this very, very carefully. So going into like the next 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to be watching to see, does SPY end up doing something like this where we see, this thing kind of like rally up like this into the supply zone. I don't know if we're going to break above this, because if we were to break this, there's going to be an attempt to get to this gap resistance at 435 if it breaks, and that could end up just trying to like invalidate this possible inverse head and shoulders. So we'll have to watch that test going into next week. But then here's the thing: if this test comes, okay, we could see this thing reject. If it does get this rejection, then I'm going to be thinking maybe this is just a giant inverse head and shoulders. We're going to be watching this test right here at the previous support. If we break below this and we end up coming like down like this just temporarily, all the way down to where this like previous high was, this could just become a much larger inverse head and shoulders for the month of October, and then we just start pumping and pumping and pumping, and we start just continuing to rally going into like November, right? That's one real possibility, right? This is one way the market could move. It all depends on this test right here. We could invalidate this if we end up just like breaking out from here, so I'm going to be watching that very carefully. Another possibility is maybe this is not like an inverse head and shoulders. Maybe the market just ends up breaking lower one last time to like 417, like this. That's another possibility. And we just continue to see some more downside before the market makes an attempt to bounce later on during the month. So all these different things could play out. Last year, the market bottomed in October before getting a monstrous bounce, and we were looking like that something very similar could happen this time around. Now, when we zoom out of the charts and we look at the 4-hour time frame, I just wanted to call this out right now. There's also an Elliot wave perspective I just wanted to go over. So when we look at this, okay, from an Elliot wave perspective, what I could do is pull up my Elliot wave chart, which I think I have it right here. And this right here, this drop that happened since July, you could argue that this is already wave one. We had a giant wave one right here. This was wave two. And then, we've been in the process of like wave three from a much larger scale. Wave four is about to happen right here. And we get one final drop to end this month in this like 417 area or so. And then that's it for the bottom for this downside cycle. And then the market just starts, another cycle upwards as we hit like November. We have like wave one, two, and we just like keep pumping, for example, right? This is all just hypothetical, but whoops, I just wanted to call all of this out just for reference about what the market could end up doing. Something like this, and we just start continuing to go back up. But that's all just hypothetical. Don't worry too much about this second part. That could be like after the market bottoms. For now, from an Elliott wave perspective, you could argue that there's more downside yet to come. And that's from where we are right now. This could just be like wave four, where we're getting like a temporary bounce, and then there's like more downside that's about to come later. We may have completed wave three already. It may have completed just like yesterday. And then we could be getting a temporary pump, one last drop for the final drop of the year before the market turns very bullish for November/December, right? It's a real possibility. And we just want to be open-minded just to be safe. You want to just be prepared for anything. There's also the inverse head and shoulders possibility. Either way, it looks like this market is, in my opinion, getting ready for something very, very big. And I'm still leaning more bullish when it comes to how the market could end up moving for the end of the year. And let me show you exactly why. So I showed you guys that there could be more downside coming for the month of October, right? It's still possible. But why am I still bullish to some extent? Well, it's because of this. Now, it depends on earnings, any black swan events and things like that, which I can't truly predict. But what I will tell you is that the technicals for the market still look bullish for the end of the year. We have a giant cup and handle on SPY on the monthly. It's still developing, right? This is the cup, the handle is forming. So what I'm thinking is October, we could still see a new low in October. It could still see some downside a little bit more. It's still possible that October is weak. Okay. There's no guarantee the bottom is in yet. But Once the market bottoms, just like what happened over the last few years, if you look at what happened to the market back around this October period, the market bottomed and then we got a monstrous bounce. We bounced more for November, it came down a little bit, and then December was very, very bullish going into like January, right? For example, as we approached 2022, before the market started sinking. But then look at what happened in 2022 when we had the bear market. Market came all the way down, October bottom, and we just rallied from October to November. December was a little flat before a monstrous January. But the point is, okay, we don't have to end that way. I think the market has a lot of potential for upside to end the year because it's an election year. And we know during these election years, the market tends to be very manipulated and we tend to see more upside because what's going to happen to these candidates going into 2024 if we have a massive stock market crash the previous year? It's not going to be good for them. So that's one reason. There are other reasons too, such as the fact that if the Fed is done raising their rates and they pause officially, which they're very close to doing, that could also help the market pump. And there's just so many other factors. I believe that right now the market is priced in so much and it's just getting ready for something like this. So I'm still leaning in that direction, right? A giant cup and handle like formation. No guarantee the bottom is in yet, though, for October. We're just going to have to wait and see. But November and December are likely going to be bullish months looking at this trend right now. All right. So that's my view so far. And then as far as SPY is looking right now, I don't know if we're going to see, this Elliott wave perspective. I really don't know if it's going to be like an Elliott wave. And we finished wave one, wave two just happened. This whole drop that we saw was wave three. We're about to see the counter trend wave four before this thing gets one final drop for wave five. I don't know if it's going to be that before the market bounces and starts pumping for November/December, or if it's just like the bottom is in and this is just a giant inverse head and shoulders. We'll have to just wait and see what the market tells us, but I'm still leaning in these directions that the market's in a bottoming process. Either the bottom is in and we're about to form an inverse head and shoulders like this, basically. So like, hold on. Whoops, sorry guys. Just like this. Let me just close this just to show you. I don't know if it's going to be this inverse head and shoulders for the pump or if it's just like the Elliott wave perspective. It's going to be one of those two, so we'll just have to wait and see on that. Now, I'm just going to very briefly talk about Tesla. We'll talk more about Tesla tomorrow, but I think it's very important to go over these possibilities. Tesla's looking very decent. I'm not super bullish or super bearish on Tesla. I'm still in the middle because, we have this head and shoulders that's still valid. We haven't invalidated it just yet, and we haven't, truly done it yet. If anything, Tesla made a lower high today relative to before. And in order for us to in order for my mind to change, we need to see Tesla break above 262.5, hold above that, and then break above 265. If 265 breaks on Tesla, there's going to be a lot more potential for it. But as of right now, Tesla has not broken out yet. It's tried to, it was looking very strong, but we have to wait and see if it could truly do that. Now, this is going to depend on lots of news and other factors like that, but there is still this head and shoulders that's valid. So tomorrow, by tomorrow, I mean like next week, I think Tesla's going to try pumping towards this resistance right here at 262. And we'll see if it could break this or not. If it continues to break out and it breaks 262, 265, 270 are possibilities, and this could try to invalidate the head and shoulders. But if Tesla ends up failing, and we see this thing drop more, this could be a trap and we could see Tesla start to sink even lower. So we want to be watching this test going into next week. We want to be watching this head and shoulders. We're just going to be watching this all very, very patiently. Anyways, guys, I'm going to talk more about the market tomorrow. I just want to keep this very short and simple. Hopefully this video was helpful and gave you guys more insights about what the market's likely going to do going into the end of the year, in my opinion, and how things are looking for like the more shorter term for the market for now. With that said, have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.